Hi guys, welcome
Hello.
to the February edition of your favorite Family Steam.
Woohoo! Starring Miss Jen.
And Miss
Miss-
Nikki. Miss Nikki was not in our last month's video. We found her out in the tundra and brought her back. So
Oh,
we are here to work together again.
I sure did miss it, Miss Jen.
Oh, we missed you too, Miss Nikki. And since we're together again, we are wearing our number one accessory next to our lab coat, which is our face mask. So
Yes, that's right. But now we're back in the lab,
we are.
and we're ready to get started with another experiment.
That's right. And something very timely, I think. We're in the month of February.
That's right, we are.
And what do you think of when I say February, Miss Nikki?
I think of groundhogs.
Yes.
And I think of, Valentine's Day and chocolate.
Oh my gosh, those are the exact things I would think of too. So that offers some interesting different science possibilities. Groundhogs, we've talked about this before. Sun, shadows, we've done some things with that. So today we thought we'd tackle something different, which is Valentine's. I think of the heart.
Oh,
And chocolate, but
Miss
the heart.
Jen, you have my heart.
Oh, I feel the same, Miss Nikki. And I know a lot of us, when we think of the heart, we think of the classic pink and white and purple little cute
Yes.
cutout hearts, right? Or we see this in photos everywhere, videos
That's
everywhere.
true.
Or like
Hey.
this beautiful little red heart.
Right, I mean, that's what a heart is, right?
Well, exactly. We've all been misled, Miss Nikki, to think that that is representative of at least the human heart.
Are you serious, Miss Jen?
Oh my gosh, this
I'm
does not do it justice at all. Wow. As you guys are gonna see through our video today, the human heart is amazing. It's complex, and yet it does things in such an efficient and amazing manner. We should all really, on Valentine's Day, forget the candy and the flowers for other people. Thank your heart for what it does for you.
Thank you, heart.
It's amazing.
I feel it in there. It's beating.
All right, exactly. So I'll give you a few facts about the heart in general, and then I know, Miss Nikki, you want to explain a little bit about why we're going to do our experiment today and what that means.
Yes.
So, okay, first of all, our hearts, right? Like Miss Nikki said, we feel them in our chest. They're not in the perfect center. They're to our left a little bit. And this is so interesting. It's a muscle. I know it took scientists a while to figure that out. It is an organ, but it's a muscle. Probably, I think it's one of, if not the strongest muscle. I know the tongue is the other one we talk about. Because it has to do so much work, you guys. I mean, we've talked about this, Miss Nikki. Also, it's not just sitting up there perfectly upright. It is on a diagonal a little bit.
No way. Miss
We've all
Jen.
got crooked hearts a little
What?
bit. I know, I never knew that until we started researching for this. How big is our heart? It's pretty big, but considering our whole body not that big, it's usually about the size of your fist. And what's interesting about that is, of course, our organs grow with us as we grow.
Yes.
So a 4-year-old's hand is going to be much tinier than my hand or your hand, a grown-up's hand. So if you make your hand into a fist, that's about the size of the heart that's in your chest.
Huh.
So, and it also, at least for humans,
Okay.
weighs about a half a pound, which isn't really that much considering all the hard work it does, and we're going to talk about that hard work in a little bit.
That's true.
The main thing it does, do you guys know? Write in the comments, why do we need our hearts to work? What do they do for us? What do you guys think? What do you think, Miss Nikki?
Well, Miss Jen, I mean, I know I've heard this before. Hearts beat, right? So
Yes.
sometimes you can even feel it. If you put your hand at certain points of your body, you can
Yes.
feel it.
We
kind
call
of
that a pulse, yeah, we can
beating
feel
a
that.
little. So,
Yep,
I mean, maybe it helps us, rock to the beat.
that might be one of the reasons.
What do you think?
And definitely some people like that sound because it's very repetitive and it's like very rhythmic. But the reason it's doing that is it is constricting or squeezing and
Okay.
releasing, and that works against our arteries and veins. And as it does that, it's pulsing, right? We've heard the word
Wow,
pulse too.
yes.
And that is all related to blood flow.
Oh,
I mean, when I think the human body, I think we need water,
yes.
we need blood, we need
That makes
oxygen.
sense.
Those are like the top 3 things
Yes.
we need. So it is a key tool in getting our blood flowing. As a matter of fact, it pumps about 2,000 gallons of blood
No.
a day.
What?
So it would empty out the grocery shelves if we had a blood bank of those gallon-sized milk cartons
Wow.
or water cartons of gallons of blood. 2,000 of them, you guys.
Talk about recycling, Miss Jen.
Oh my gosh, and every day it does that, over and over and over and over and over again.
Are you
constantly.
sure?
I'm positive, and that is so much work. That's why we need to be so grateful.
I mean, wow, there's a lot of blood pumping in here.
There really is. And another interesting thing is, everybody's resting heart rate, which is when we're kind of just relaxing,
Mhm.
not exercising,
Okay.
is different. But we can find it, like you said, under your jaw to the left, there's a little, you'll feel the pulse. And if you want to ever find your resting heart rate, we're not going to do it right now, but just explain. If you hold it there and find it, then time yourself for 1 minute. And however many beats it is your resting heart rate. So you can try that at home and see what you think. Write it in the comments, let us know.
Resting means that you're not active. So
Yes.
does that mean that your heart rate changes when you're, exercising or dancing or jumping around?
Absolutely, or sleeping,
Oh.
right? Because our bodies need different amounts of oxygen
Okay.
and depending on what activity level we're doing. If
Yes.
I'm exercising, I'm using the oxygen much quicker because I'm also breathing quicker. I'm panting, going fast. So I need that oxygen to move quicker through my body.
Yes.
So yes, definitely the heart rate will go up, and if I'm sleeping and just breathing deep, go down.
Yeah, so I hear so it sounds like there's that other word, oxygen.
Yes, that's going to be a key part too. So
Okay.
our heart is going to beat about 115,000 times a day.
What?
Over 100,000, yeah, 115,000 times a day. It might be up to 3 billion, that's with a B, boys and girls, families, billion with a B times in your lifetime.
Wow.
I mean, that's a lot, that's amazing. I
Wow.
can't even comprehend a number that big.
So you might not be ever live to be 1 billion years old, but your heart is going to have more than 1 billion beats.
Yes, exactly.
Wow. You should tell your friends that.
So, like Miss Nikki pointed out though, we're talking about really the heart and lungs. The blood and the oxygen work so closely hand in hand, and I know you have some great explanation of that, Miss Nikki.
That's right, Miss Jen. So you mentioned that oxygen and blood are really important parts to this, right?
Absolutely.
Because the heart you said was a muscle,
It is.
right? So it beats and it pumps, but what does it pump? Well, it pumps blood, like you said, right?
Exactly.
And it pumps blood to all of our parts of our body.
Yes.
But why? Why is that important? Is it just because our body likes blood?
Well, exactly. That's the
mean,
big question,
Right? I mean, why? Why do we need to pump blood to all parts of our body? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because inside our blood is oxygen. Yep. When our blood goes through our lungs, all of the air that we take in goes to the blood, and it goes to the heart, where it then gets clean and pumps, and then it pumps strong enough to push it to the rest of our body, because otherwise there would be nothing to push it to our fingers and our toes,
Yes.
all the way down at the farthest points of our body.
I saw a really interesting way to explain this, like it's kind of a weird concept. So
Okay.
the pumping. Picture a sponge,
Okay?
picture a rubber duck, right?
Okay.
We all had a rubber duck.
Okay.
If I take that duck and I squeeze him and he happens to have water inside, he's gonna squirt that water out, right?
Right?
And it would send it in all directions, which is what we need our heart to do.
Yes.
If I let go
Okay.
to my sponge or the duck, it's gonna take that water in, and we need to
That's
take that
great.
oxygenated blood in. But here's a question, Miss Nikki, then. Some of our oxygen, our blood, we've used the oxygen.
Right, because it goes to all of our parts.
Right, so once it's used, we have to keep, like you said, basically it's recycling it, but it gets more complicated that way. We need some blood that's fresh with the oxygen.
Right.
We need to take care of the blood that now doesn't have the oxygen. So that's the whole key.
So we have kind of a whole airport or a train system going on in our bodies, right? So
Absolutely.
we have some tracks that are taking the blood to our body parts, to
Yes.
the rest of our body,
Exactly.
right? And those are actually called, they have a special name.
Ooh,
They are called arteries.
arteries.
Arteries are the roads or the blood vessels that take our blood from our heart, and they have the oxygen in them. So this is the blood that needs to go to all of our parts so that we have nice circulating fingers that move and are healthy.
And all our organs get the
And all
blood
our
they
organs,
need, our
that's
brain
right.
gets the oxygen
That's sort
they
of the
need.
food that they need, right? So
And I
that's
was
where all the
thinking,
vitamins.
You're saying artery, right?
Yes.
Arteries away. So arteries away from the heart to the other parts of the body,
Yes.
carrying the oxygen.
Absolutely. So they're carrying that oxygen-rich blood.
Yes.
And then once they drop it off, they go to each spot along our bodies. Once they've made all of their stops, all the oxygen is gone from the blood.
Right.
So they need to refill up. So now they're going to
What
go
are we gonna do?
back up. But
Yes.
with gravity, how would they do that, right? Because going down is pretty easy.
Yes.
Right? Gravity helps pull it down.
Right.
But going up is the hard part.
Now we've got a problem.
That's right. How is it going to get up there? Well, that's where your heart comes in.
That's right.
That's where that pulsating comes in, because that is pushing all of the blood to move, to keep moving in a cycle so that it never stops. don't want your blood to ever stop moving.
Because of course, when, like I said, when it releases, it's gonna draw it up
That's right.
against gravity, and the walls and the arteries and stuff, and the veins will pulse, and you've got this
Exactly.
constant circulation, circulatory system.
And
so.
that's what it is all about.
Exactly.
So we have named the arteries for when it goes down away from the heart.
Right.
But what about when it comes up? Well,
Ooh.
those are called veins.
Veins, exactly.
And sometimes you can even see them if you look carefully.
Yes.
You can kind of see sometimes they have that blue color to them.
Your wrist, or maybe the back of your hand, you can
Exactly.
look. There's
So
a
go
few different
ahead,
spots.
take a look, because there's a few spots that you might be able to see them, especially sometimes if you make a fist.
Yep.
Sometimes even if you have to give blood, sometimes when you
Sure.
go to the doctor,
That's
they
right.
want to take a blood sample, so you can see those. That's where
Or if
they're
you
pulling
donate,
it from.
maybe your family donates blood.
Yes.
So yeah, there's a lot of different ways you might see those.
Absolutely. So the blood, it's dropped off all of its oxygen, so now it's going up the veins, but it's not going to go right to your heart. It has to stop and pick up some oxygen. So it's got to go to the grocery store for oxygen.
The grocery store.
The grocery store of oxygen. Where is it going to buy oxygen, Miss
Ooh,
Jen?
what do you guys think?
Where do you think in your body, your blood going up your veins could go to get oxygen? And I mentioned it before. It's an organ.
All right,
We
oxygen,
got two of them.
air. I'm thinking lungs, maybe.
Exactly right.
Yay!
Good
lungs.
job.
Thank
High
you.
five, Miss Jen. Yes. So when you breathe in the air and it goes down into your lungs, it's stored there for the blood to come through and to get reoxygenated, and that goes into your heart. So the blood is actually getting oxygenated in your heart through the oxygen that you pull in your lungs. So how does this happen, and how do we make sure? Because we've got oxygenated blood in the heart, we've got unoxygenated heart.
They're next
blood.
door neighbors.
That's right.
How do we keep them separate?
How
though?
do we keep them separate? Well, just like a neighborhood, there are actually 4 chambers to your heart, or 4 little closets.
Or compartments.
Or
yeah.
compartments,
Yeah.
another great word,
Yeah.
compartments, right?
Different ways.
There are 4 main parts. There's 2 upper parts. Those are called, let me double check to make sure I've got my word right. Those are called atriums. So you have a right atrium and a left atrium
Yeah.
in your heart. That's where the top part of your heart is. You've got 2 of them. And then you have lower chambers called ventricles. Those are going to also have a right and a left side. And just like Miss Jen says, they are actually divided by a small little area called a cellular wall. So it's kind of like a piece of tissue, sort
Very
of.
thin, probably, for the
Very
important of
thin.
a job it has. but-
Exactly, yes. So that it can still get through when it needs to,
Yes.
and it's not too heavy, because if it was too heavy, your heart might.
It might not function as
That's
well.
right,
Correct.
exactly. And so the blood is going, once it gets that oxygenated blood, it's gonna go from unoxygenated to oxygenated in your heart, and then it's gonna pump back down through the arteries.
And like Miss Nikki said, we were talking about a closet or compartment. I think a lot of times you might hear chamber. That's an
Yes.
upper chamber, lower chamber.
Yes.
And then the right chambers and the left chamber, so.
Exactly. And what we also have in our, so how does the blood get to the heart, right? So we know that the heart is there, and there's veins, and there's arteries, but there is actually something called valves. So the valves is what helps move the blood from one part of the heart to the other. So we have valves going from the atrium, from one atrium to one ventricle, and one ventricle to one atrium. So this way they are actually all tied together. They're kind of like doors, Miss Jen.
I was thinking the same doors or gates, like to kind of
Yes.
open and close to keep things moving
Exactly.
smoothly, so.
Yes.
Yep.
So what happens is your blood gets reoxygenated in your heart, and then it goes to that other chamber where now it's refreshed and it's ready to be pumped back down to your body.
That's right.
So just like we can go onto the train station or an airport, your body has a circulatory system that is constantly taking blood to and from all different parts of your body.
And taking care of us without us doing anything, without us
Exactly.
thinking about it or realizing it. It's amazing.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I think what we would really like to do then, we have a really cool experiment.
We gotta try this out. We gotta see how this works.
We do. We hope it'll work. They're
Yes.
saying that basically this experiment we're gonna try to show you and set up is gonna simulate how the valves work
Yes.
and how we get some blood going in and then some blood
Yes.
going out. So we're gonna set
Absolutely.
up that. and then we'll show you guys and we'll see if it works, Miss Nikki. I hope so.
Sounds
You never know
good.
with the two of us. We'll see what happens.
This is gonna be really fun.
I know, I'm excited.
This is gonna be really fun. So, all right, are we ready? What do we need first? We gotta talk about our supplies. What do
Okay.
we need?
So we definitely need, I would suggest a container, and we will show
Okay.
you all this during the experiment, but a container, because it could get messy. When
Could
Miss
get-
Nikki-
yes.
Miss Nikki and Miss Jen do experiments, it gets messy a lot of
Yeah, we
times.
come prepared to be messy.
That's right,
Got
you
our
need
coats.
some kind of smaller jar
Okay.
to hold the, we're gonna pretend is the heart with the blood.
Okay,
You need 2 balloons. One has to fit over the neck of the jar,
okay,
so probably a medium-ish size balloon, and then a smaller balloon.
okay.
We need 2 straws. Bendy straws are better if you have them. Other than that, if you want, totally optional, you can have a little food coloring. If you like that idea
Right.
of the red water for the
That's right,
blood,
'cause
you could do that.
Some people say that your blood can kind of change colors based on how much oxygen is in there.
I have heard that as well. So you could do the red if you'd like. So the water, the jar, the 2 balloons, and the straws, and some rubber bands to attach some things.
All right.
You might need a little instrument to poke a hole in the balloon, like a pencil,
Mhm.
but we'll show you all this when we do the experiment.
All
So
right.
not very many things you probably have around your house.
I'm really excited about this, Miss Jen.
Me too.
I can't wait.
All right, we'll see
I
what
hope we don't
happens.
break any hearts.
Oh, good point, Miss Nikki.
We're back, Miss Jen.
Here we go. It's time to try part 2, the big experiment. It's time to take everything we discussed and
Yes.
explain and see if we can make it work.
Okay, so ventricles I remember,
Atrium,
atrium, I remember some fibrous tissue in the
in
middle.
between,
Yeah,
valves,
valves to open and close for the blood to go in and out.
like
when it's-
gates, yep,
Yeah, and I remember arteries
the
and
lungs,
veins. Yes, and the lungs.
and then oxygen.
So now we have to recreate all this?
Well, so yeah, I know,
How?
this doesn't exactly look like a heart.
Okay.
But what we're gonna do is try to demonstrate how the valves work and how
Okay.
that pressure, right, we talked about in
Right.
and out, will force
Yeah,
the blood
that's
to
it.
move and,
Okay.
and in and out, so.
Okay, well, this
okay.
is exciting.
Okay, so just to review supplies really quick, a container to contain your mess, hopefully. You
That
know,
makes
with us,
sense.
you never
No
know.
mess.
We'll try to
No
capture it.
fuss.
We have a glass with some water.
Okay, and how much water do you really need?
Well, I think it depends on your container. So if you
Okay.
guys, this is pretty small.
Yep.
And they say about 2/3, so definitely this is
Okay.
bigger, so that should fill it to the
So
appropriate
that
amount.
looks kind of like the size of a baby jar?
Yeah, this
Food
is
jar? Okay.
basically a baby food jar. You
Okay,
can use bigger ones, but the one trick I will say is eventually you have to stretch a rubber band over the top. So some glasses, it's just not gonna work. Yeah, smaller
Right.
neck or a smaller top is
Yes.
better.
okay,
Okay, so we have our glass. I'm gonna add a little red food coloring just to make it fun, because we're pretending it's
Right.
blood, we're simulating blood.
right. So it is not real blood?
No, it is
Not
not.
real blood?
It's
Okay.
food
Water.
colored water, yeah.
Got it,
We've got 2 bendy straws for
okay,
like the valves, the arteries and veins.
okay,
We've got 2 size balloons, this is important, a bigger one to stretch across the top,
okay.
and then you need a little bitty
A
one
baby balloon?
if you can.
Yes.
And this is gonna act like one of those valves. We're gonna cover
Okay.
one of our straws
Yes,
with the cover, like a way to block
that makes sense.
it so it doesn't let it out.
Yes.
Okay, and then some rubber bands to help you attach. You will need scissors to cut your balloons to the right
Okay.
size. And then Miss Nikki and I in the past had tried this experiment a few different ways.
We sure
And
did.
when we tried, you run into some issues.
You always do, don't you?
We always do.
You gotta test and retest.
Right, that's what science is. So what we noticed is, I think in the past, correct me if I'm wrong, when we went to stretch the balloon, Miss Nikki, and then put some holes to place our straws, it kept exploding.
That's true.
Because it's too
Balloons-
much pressure,
Yes.
and the minute you break
Which
that
also,
tension.
ironically, Miss Jane, can happen with your heart.
Oh, true.
You know, we talk about heart attacks and
Yes.
things like that, and
Yes.
so your heart is also something that can have some issues as well.
Yes.
So we want to treat it kindly by eating healthy and exercising.
That's right, and of course, our arteries and veins would be held under pressure,
Yes.
right, like the balloon, so if you're too difficult or hard on them, you can have
Right.
problems. So yes,
Gotta
we have
be
to take
gentle.
good care of ourselves, so,
Gentle with us, be gentle with balloons.
that's right. So I'm gonna, just use a pencil and poke a
Okay.
couple holes, pre-poke.
So it looks like you cut off kind
Yes,
of
I
the
did.
tail of the balloon.
Let me show you guys that, that step. So here's the bigger balloon of the two,
Okay.
and I'm gonna cut off the neck part, the
Yeah.
thinner part.
I'm gonna go ahead and show up close what that looks like.
So, and it's trial and error again, you wanna make sure the opening's big enough to stretch over your jar. So I'm
Yes.
gonna expand this and try to stretch it over the jar.
Okay,
So I've got 2 now, so that's good in case one
Okay.
breaks. So I'm gonna use the pencil
okay.
and try to put 2 holes in this. See if I can get it with that. If not, I'll use the edge of the scissor, but
Okay. And what size holes holes do you want? Do you want like the size of your finger? Do you want the size?
Pretty small, the straw's gonna go through it,
Okay.
but I feel like the rubber of the balloon or the latex will
Yes.
expand, so.
That makes sense. So we want kind of small enough, you know, almost a little bit bigger than a needle prick.
Yes.
You could probably use like a paper clip.
Yeah, I don't have that, so I'm gonna try the edge of the scissors, we'll see here.
Okay. Try.
Don't grown-ups would
Yes.
wanna do this,
Right. We always want to
Okay.
have a grown-up with us or nearby.
especially with that scissors. If you
Yes.
end up using scissors and not a paper clip, please let the grown-ups.
So I can see, Miss Jen, that's a very little hole. It's small. Whoops. It's
It is.
smaller than my pinky.
But once we stretch it, it
Yes.
should get bigger. And I'm gonna
Like
place
this.
one more, because we need 2 holes for the 2 straws.
And so they probably shouldn't be too close together. Right?
Exactly, that's what I was about to say. We wanna have them spread out a little bit on the top. So again, because this is tricky, I'm flipping it inside out so I don't cut myself,
Yes.
and I wanna see where this is going.
And it can be stubborn, just like
Yes, exactly. It's not easy
muscle
to go
and
through.
skin can. It's not easy to break.
Okay, so we've got 2.
Okay.
So hopefully we can get them in the right spot here.
Okay.
So I'm gonna add the water to our jar.
Okay.
So let's pour that in. We're gonna fill it about 2/3 full.
So this is like the water entering the heart.
Yes.
But not water, it
The
would be
blood,
blood.
yeah, the blood,
right?
yes.
Now we're making it oxygenated.
That's right, so here's our red, just so we can maybe hopefully see it
Maybe like
easier.
our oxygen.
Ooh, yeah, there we go.
Ooh.
Beautiful red color,
Love that. Vibrant,
that's right.
healthy.
Okay, so now I'm gonna attempt to stretch this over the top
Okay.
to create, we wanna remember again, that opening and closing, so we wanna create an
Yes.
environment.
Right.
Where
That's
when
what
we
makes
put the
the breathing
pressure,
sound too.
exactly.
You said.
So we're gonna cover that,
Okay.
and let's see. So we've got the one with
So
the holes.
just to hold this up
Yes,
one more
please
time.
show everybody.
But we don't want to drink this, right, Miss Jen?
No, actually we could because it's water and
Yes.
food coloring, but we're not gonna do that.
And we're not vampires.
It's part of our experiment, yeah, we don't even want pretend blood, so, could you hold the jar?
I can.
Okay, let's see here.
Okay.
Oh, I'm not sure, these holes might be a little too near the edges,
Okay.
I'm not sure yet, let's see. Okay, I'm gonna poke one more hole though in the hopes it'll work, a
Okay.
little closer,
A
so.
little closer. So you want it in the circle of
Yes.
your jar.
Exactly, and this one is too far to the edge,
far.
so. Now, putting a 3rd hole might cause it to not work, we'll see,
Okay,
and if it
let's-
doesn't, we'll try it again. Okay, so hopefully those 2 are closer together, and we'll see what happens here. Yeah, okay.
All right.
This is the tricky part, friends.
We're building our hearts, folks.
Still not, let's see, where's the 3? 1, 2. Oh, no, there it is, okay.
All right. Got to get those holes lined up just right, just
You
like your
do.
body does.
Oh.
We
now
didn't say it would be easy, folks.
We did not. All right, now, these are a little close together than I'd like, but we'll try it.
We'll give it a test.
Okay, so we've got it around the edge.
Kind of looks like a smiley face. I see 2 holes for eyes.
It does, and I'm gonna try to rubber band it.
Yep, just to kind of keep it
Tense
sealed.
and sealed, yep.
Okay. So a strategy to help keep it contained is a rubber band, maybe a piece of tape.
Yes, all right, let's see. All right,
Want me to hold?
yeah, let's see. I'd like to have that a little more taut, just like
Yes.
when it's really tight.
Really stretch tight across. Oops, and this mare body. Just,
And try one more rubber band.
okay, moving my fingers out of the way.
Who knew you needed a lot of coordination to do this, boys and girls? All right, that looks pretty tight.
We'll give it
Do you
a
want to take
shot.
it up to the camera, Miss Nikki? and
Yes.
see? I know it's hard to see the tiny holes, but.
That's true. Okay, so if you can see, we've got our 2 holes, 1, 2. They're in our jar. It doesn't matter if it's in the middle, but we want it to be somewhere inside here. We've got our blood or our water with food coloring. And Miss Jen, just to secure it, because sometimes that rubber can be slippery, put a rubber band around the edge to kind of keep it secure. All right, let's give it a shot.
Okay, so we're gonna put it in there to
Okay.
contain that mess, hopefully.
To contain the mess.
Miss Nikki, could you please rubber band on the end of the straw?
Okay, I'm adding the
Oh,
valve.
sorry, the valve on the end. Let me get you a rubber band.
Okay.
But we're gonna keep one straw open, right? Because we
Okay.
need one way
That's
for
right.
the blood or the water to go.
Right, that makes
So
sense.
while you're doing that, I'm gonna
Okay.
try to insert the straw.
So I am putting a straw. Our our baby balloon onto the end of a straw. Then I'm gonna seal it.
So we're cutting off the exit temporarily, like
Exactly.
a valve would, so.
We're basically making a little place for it to go without it having to spill out.
Yes. And it might
Just-
travel up the straw,
It might.
but as long as the valve is there, or the balloon in this instance,
Yes.
it will stop it, so,
Exactly, and then the blood isn't going where it shouldn't go.
that's right. We wanna keep that oxygenated and, blood that's been depleted and needs
Right,
to be oxygenated
separated.
separate.
Exactly, just like when you're going in two different directions. We don't want to have a crash.
No, we don't. All right, there's your, you wanna try
All right,
and
Miss
serve,
Jen.
Miss Nikki?
Now I really like, I'm gonna show this to you friends at home, so you can see. You're gonna see that there's no space in the balloon, between the balloon and the straws. You want it really, really nice and tight, so that there's no space here, so there's no air getting out. Kind of like when you get the hiccups, sometimes that means air is escaping. And so we don't want that to happen.
No, we don't.
All right, Miss Jen.
Okay, so theoretically, friends, hopefully, the water, the colored water, will come out this purple straw that's open when we push down on this lid, which is creating that pressure.
Right.
So we've got it pointed down, hopefully, and we're gonna try it.
All right, you go for it, Miss Jen. I'll hold the
Okay, here we go.
pump. Woo! Ooh, it's a fountain.
It's coming out pretty, and it is, it's hard for you guys to see, but
Yes.
it is coming up the straw a little, isn't it, Miss
And
Nikki,
what
with
you'll
the valve?
notice is as Miss Jen pumps, you'll notice that right here where we have our little balloon or our valve is actually getting that air and pushing it back down.
It is.
Maybe we can go a little closer, Miss Jen, and give it a try. in
Well, and I
front
thought of, what if we remove this temporarily?
Ooh.
We're getting crazy.
Okay.
Well,
we
you
are
can
going-
see all the red in here, you guys. So
Yes.
we had it work,
Okay.
and we're just gonna kind of point it. We've got a nice covered, no,
Yes.
if at home, if you don't want this mess on your
Maybe we
table.
could have the other glass, one of the
That's what
glass,
we
and
could
kind of
try.
see if we can
Ooh,
aim
see if we
it.
can get.
All right.
Go ahead, Miss Nikki, you try it.
All right, here we go.
Feel the pressure, oh
My heart's
boy.
beating. Is your heart beating?
I'm a little nervous.
All right, checking my pulse here. Starting to race, so no more resting heartbeat. We're getting a little faster. Here we go. Whoops. Okay. And pump. Oh, I didn't pump hard enough.
Oh, there it comes, a little bit. Oh boy, here it comes. Oh, and it is, it's coming into the, woo! There we go. Oh boy. So as you can see, probably easier there.
Yes.
This is why you might want a container at home, but
Yes.
we wanted to make sure you guys at home can see what we're doing.
Yes.
We have water spatter.
Yes.
Kind of looks like, you know, something out of a TV show.
And
Now,
you
I would
gotta
say as
make
it's getting
sure.
lower.
Yes, it's getting lower, so you want to make sure the straws are touching the bottom or close to the bottom.
Yes. Oh, you're gonna point it at yourself.
Oh, make sure you're not pointing it at yourself.
There, here, I'll point it away. Kind of like a fire hose thing here.
All right, and pump, and pump, and pump, and pump. I think we're
There
out
we
of
go.
blood. I did get a little on me.
It happens.
It does.
Here you go,
Woo!
Miss Nikki. I always have learned, boys and girls, extra paper towels around in the steam experiment.
Yes, exactly.
So I'm really pleased with the way that worked, Miss Nikki.
I am too. So it seems like we simulated our circulatory system, particularly our hearts,
Yes,
our valves in our hearts,
yes,
and our veins and our arteries.
yes.
Well, I hope, friends, that your heart is aflutter and that you are going to try this at home.
And that you loved it.
That you loved it, and I hope that you will share your photos of your experiments and your simulations.
Yes,
Because Miss Jen and I love to see what you guys are getting up to at home in your own
we really do.
science labs.
It's one of our favorite things, to
Yes.
get photos and videos from our friends that come to our programs and see our stuff.
That's right. So check out more on Facebook, on YouTube. Sign up for more STEAM programs. They are coming up soon. So you can register now for March and April, Miss Jen.
Yes, you can. It's open just recently, so please check it out. We've got a lot of
Right.
great programs planned.
So don't have a heart attack because Miss Jen and Miss Nikki are coming back.
We're here, guys.
We're here.
All right.
We don't want to break your heart. So
No, we
we
don't.
love you guys, and
Thanks
we
so
hope
much.
that you guys will continue having that heartbeat and share it with us as well.
And take care of your hearts too.
That's right.
Get outside and play if you can.
That's right, Miss Jen. Until next time.
Until next time, thanks friends.
Bye.
Bye.